My greatest achievement thus far has been founding the movement of the Young Women in Political Parties Leadership. This is an umbrella body that brings together young women in all 72 registered political parties who are leaders in their parties by holding offices of decision making. What this does is to amplify the voices of young women in political parties to ensure that the constituency of young women is regarded as a critical constituency in elections, and this body seeks to protect the women's gains in politics by trying to implement the two-thirds gender role. The biggest barrier I have faced in politics is the recognition of the critical role that young women play in politics, recognition of their contribution as significant and important. The assumption that they do not bring anything to the table sometimes can hinder your participation or your selection into key areas of leadership. Um, but through hard work, we are trying to show that we are capable of decision making, lobbying, negotiating, and delivering for the larger women's constituency. My party, Green Congress of Kenya, has done so much to put young women in the space of politics. This is by having our co-party leader as a young woman below 35 and having half of the party leadership being youth. This gives us a great start in sharing tables with people who are veterans in the political space. And this prepares us for political negotiations and lobbying and championing for the green agenda in a political space. Existing prejudices against young women, against women in general in the political arena, is that there is this narrative that positions in politics are handed to women through nomination processes. This could not be further from the truth. It has always been a systemized, institutionalized arena of barriers towards women's participation. So what affirmative action is doing is removing these barriers to enable women's participation. But by creating these affirmative actions, then the position of women is deemed lesser than that of men, who are seen to have the proper mandate of the people through elections. And then it means that women have to work twice as hard to get half of the recognition that their counterparts, the males, have in areas of legislation. Of course, the first step is to institutionalize the two-thirds gender principle in not only political arenas or areas of legislation, but in all government and private sector institutions, to ensure that the two-thirds gender principle is a basic way of life and a basic way of constituting any body, for economic or political purposes. A win in the two-thirds gender rule will mean that women will be able to influence decisions or the narrative that they are capable leaders. And this is the most important thing for us right now in Kenya, followed by the two-thirds, the Chief Justice advisory to dissolve parliament because of the two-thirds principle. So effecting this two-thirds principle ultimately leads to success for us as Kenyans. My parting shot to young women is that it is important that we are represented at the table. It is important that we reiterate nothing for us can be done without us. Women are not a homogeneous group. We have the constituency of young women in politics, in leadership, that is critical towards achieving the overall common goal of women in leadership. And so let us not be left behind. Take a step and be the change that you want to see.